just give me 1 second here.
Is this
all right,
everybody?
yes, we're good.
Good morning, it's Chuck Van Sickle, Linear, presenting today the residential linear product line of GDOs for multi-cells, Southern California and their affiliates around the West Coast. Thank you for allowing me to present today. We're just gonna, if you guys have questions, unmute yourself, but we're just gonna go through the slides that we have. Then we'll have some questions at the end, perhaps a little chance to show you, demonstrate a residential operator. I'm not sure the level of experience, if anyone's installed an opener, just sold an opener, or teched it out, but we'll just kind of go through this like no one's ever seen a garage door opener before. How's that? All right, again, it's Linear's partnership with multi-cells. We currently manufacture 6 different residential operators. Starting from the far left is our model 800. That's a DC operator. We have 3 DC motors, 1 without Wi-Fi, battery capable, 2 with Wi-Fi, both battery capable for California market. The other 3 products are AC openers, only sold outside of California for installation in other markets. Upper right one is the LSO50, which is a 2-lens, quite smooth, quite strong operator to sell. Then in the lower left is the workhorse. The lower middle is the workhorse of the platform. That's what we started out with on, that's an LDO. We offer it in a 3rd horse, LDO 33, or an LDO 50. Those units are mainly sold in a chain drive application for 1-piece doors, sectional doors, trap work. And then the one underneath on the right side is our LCO 75 3/4 horse motor, designed for your taller doors, your heavy doors, wood carriage house, all the way up to a 14 high light commercial. Those are our 5 or 6 different operators. We only use 3 logic boards to achieve this also, which is nice, interchangeable, literally back to day one. If they installed a AC opener 10 years ago, today's logic board will work. If they installed a DC, the logic board of 12 years ago will still work fine. So here's our value proposition on the AC. We put helical gears in all the units, comes with a 5-year warranty. As you can see, there's brass top, bottom, up, down, sideways, and it's encased, somewhat closed. The limit switches go on top of this. It's very well lubricated, and again, it comes with a 5-year warranty. All of my openers have interchangeable rails, from 7-foot to 14-foot in chain on the left, and 7-foot to 10-foot belts on the right. Quietness comes out of the motor head. So AC openers will not be quieter with a belt rail. My DC openers will be absolutely the quietest opener out there with a belt rail. Chain rails are workhorses, come with a 5-year drivetrain warranty, and on the belt rail, it's a lifetime. These are the items that are most common in our AC openers and our DC and our 3/4 horse. The photo eyes are interchangeable across the platform. The board there that's lit up is our AE. That's our 40 board designed for all AC openers. On the back of the machine, we have indication of up to 7 flashes, depending on which opener it is. So if somebody's troubleshooting a residential operator, the flashes are right on the back. For example, 1 flash is the transmitter has not been taught in. 3 flashes is the photo eyes aren't working correctly. 4 flashes is door pressure, and so on. The wall station on the right is our standard for our low-end AC openers and DC openers in the 800. They are all 3-button wall stations, light left, bottom up and down, open and close, and you see where it's got the red tab. That opener would be considered locked out. Locked out means it won't raise up from the ground with a transmitter, but it will work from the wall station. It will always close from the open position with a transmitter or the wall station, and then it shows the belt rail. We also, with our smart operators, offer an app. And the app comes with the 850, 852. It's downloadable on Android or Apple. Follow the directions on the app, and there's many features that it offers. One that I don't recommend currently is this geo-fencing lower left corner. That's still having some issues in the marketplace. And we can go over the app further into the discussion. So our DC smart keys, they are dimmable LED lights on the Wi-Fi units, standard 100-watt light bulb on our AC opener. All DC openers have slow start, slow stop, and you can see the rest of the the specs there. So again, the app overview. We are, and a lot of guys are asking this more and more, what is your app available to work on in a home automated scenario? Alexa, is one that people like to offer at a low end, ring on their front doorbell, things like that. So we've teamed up with a company, Elon, which we happen to own, and that's a whole house automation, from speakers to lighting to television to cameras throughout the house. So we're more and more integrating with the whole house concept. Again, these are the 4 basic apps we share with. There are a couple others coming online literally monthly. Smart GDO, we're offering currently 2 product lines. We do private label for a couple other guys. So the LDCO 850 is a single lens LED, has all the wall station radios. We hold up to 40 remotes and keypads throughout the product line. Individually, you can delete a remote also. Instead of deleting all 30 remotes on a small apartment complex, you can delete the individual keypad code or the remote, and then the rest of the residents can still get in and out. The difference between the LDCO 852 is you see it has 2 sets of LED. 2,000 lumens is roughly 200 watts of light. Same battery backup, same feature set as the 850. Coming new by the end of the year, we're going to have 2 new models. One will replace, possibly in time, the 850. That'll be called an 841. It will not ship with the battery, but it will ship as a battery backupable with a single LED light. California customers will purchase it. in addition to with the battery as an option. The rest of the country can still option it. The 863 will then be the flagship product. That'll have 3 sets of lights, 3,000 lumens, roughly 300 watts of light, which are also dimmable. And the app you can turn on and off quite a bit of different feature sets. These are the typical operator on the Smart. The top right wall station is obsolete. You may have seen one flying around town 2 years ago. That has been taken out, and we're only using the middle one. The MTR3s and MTR1 remotes are the new style. We offer the keypad at the bottom in white, off gray, white, or black. So we've been giving away some of the black ones. That's going to start to come to an end. You guys have been able to take advantage of that, and it helps sales in your Washington location, promoting the product with a free keypad. 2 differences in our boards. Our standard AC and our standard DC are a 3-terminal board, the top one. What that means is terminals 1 and 2 are non-polarity to the push button. And I'm going to show you a push button. And the wires, meaning non-polarity, is we don't care which 2 wires attach to terminal 1 and 2. And 2 and 3 also doesn't care on your photo eye. So what that means is for an installer, it's quicker to install our opener because he doesn't care about wire colors. He just has to hook them up to terminal 1 and 2 for the push button and 3 and 4 for the photo eyes. 2 and 3 for the photo eyes on standard product. The Smart operator, the bottom picture, you'll see 4 terminals. And on those, the first 2 are for the wall station. Those are polarity sensitive. Most important, when you hook up the unit, you hook up the photo eyes and the wall station. Then you apply power to the battery. You make sure this blue light is lit. And I'm going to do a quick turnaround. You can see the blue light perhaps on this unit. That's important. Then you would plug that operator into high voltage, and then you would set the limits, and we'll go over limit adjustment in a bit. The 3 buttons on both these Logic boards are for DC openers only. Doesn't matter if it's smart or non-smart. They're your up-down limits, your learn limits for transmitters, and your door pressure. We do have an additional override for door pressure. We do recommend you run the opener for 4 cycles after initial install. That weighs the door, determines if it's a pan door, double-sided steel door, or a very heavy wood carriage house. The largest door I've ever hung is 18 by 8'4", 3.5-inch wood carriage house, low headroom. And the opener's been opening and closing it now for 12 years. So I truly believe this opener can handle any door properly sprung in the marketplace. As you can see, there's 1 to 6 flashes on the ACO, on the 800, and down right on the bottom of the left, you'll see 7 flashes covered up. That's basically a way you can override the total machine. If you've got issues in the marketplace, it's doors acting weird, not working right, gone into a 7 flash, doesn't mean the board's bad, doesn't mean the opener's broken. It just means it needs to be reflashed to factory default and start over. That's a great benefit for power outages, lightning strikes, misoperation, broken door springs. It protects the opener from a catastrophic failure. The rest of the flashes are just indication of what's going on with the opener as you can read through them individually. The one on the right side doesn't quite have the same sticker, but it's the same operational functionality, and we can send you guys over the piece of paper that you can carry. Again, the wall stations are different between the smart opener and the standard opener. The biggest thing is the lockout on the left is for 800s and AC, up and down. Down is locked out. On the right wall station, that little button under the lid on the left indicates, after you hold it in for 4 seconds, the blue light flashes for 4 seconds, and it flashes continuously. The middle button on the right is the way you program to get into your Wi-Fi. Once you're connected to Wi-Fi, the far right-hand button, you can go out over the internet and find any updates. Give you an example. An update might be we had timers on the lights to not turn off in 5 minutes. So that could have been a fix in the field, which it was 3 years ago. So that would go out and figure that out and fix it. Our two different battery options. The 800 is a battery option for the rest of the country. It's standard in California. We ship it in a separate box. You see the plug? You'll have to unplug it. Can you see in my picture where my face is? This is the logic board. This wire here, you're going to unplug it from the connector and plug it right into the housing and the logic board, which screws inside the motor housing. The smart operator battery we ship in the box, and that currently is still in the box. On that operator, we just give you a logic.
Hey Chuck, sometimes your audio gets a little muffled here. Could you just repeat that piece again?
On the 800 battery?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the 800 battery, the BBU, is an option for the rest of the country. It does not ship in the box, nor does it ship in the box for California installation, but it does need to be installed. So you would order a BBU with your 800. This is what the logic board inside the operator looks like. And this is the connector. You disconnect from here and plug it in to the battery housing plug. And now your operator is battery backup. On the smart operator, we ship the battery in the box with the motor head. And in that case, it only comes with a logic board with 2 wires. The charging circuit is here on the board, where on the left one, you can see the charging circuit is included with the BBU. It's important to know that charging circuit works quite well on the 800 version. On the 850, 852, the charging circuit is on this board. And when power fails, it'll drop down in voltage, and it could.
Sorry, could you repeat that piece one more time? That one sentence, it muffled again with I don't know if there's a lag or something.
Okay, so the charging circuit on the 800 comes right in the battery box. You can see that green item with the wires coming out of it. That's your charging circuit. On the 852, the charging circuit is found on our logic board. And that is only a 2-wire connection. Did that come in clearer?
Yes, it did. We appreciate you. Thank Thank you.
Not a problem. So here's how we troubleshoot the 850, 800, which we talked about earlier. Then we also, on the smart operator, we have a low battery, 2 beeps. And these are all when the opener rises up and is in the full open position. It will not beep in the closed position or mid-travel. So it's important when you're asking a customer which beep and at what point are you getting these beeps. And you can see that we have 4 beeps is a battery shorted or time to replace it. That's not 100% true. It could be that the battery dropped below the threshold to get recharged, and you could put it on a trickle charger and bring it back to life. That I've seen work in many cases on new construction where they've left the battery plugged in for a month with no power. Again, the app, each person is going to download their own app. They're going to follow the onboard screen to set up their app, whether it's an Apple phone or an Android. And then we have feature sets where we can put predetermined timers. It'll tell you where the door's at, partially open, all the way open, closed. And then we can preset it up to auto close up to 5 times a night, or open in the morning and then close. Here's a couple of the other benefits and features that you can see. Plus, it also tells you where the battery power unit itself, if it's in charge mode with the indication lights. If you've gone into vacation mode, which happens to happen with customers, our transmitters will not open, but always from the wall station. So that's a good indication it's locked out. So these are just some of the feature sets that come with the Wi-Fi strength. If you don't have good Wi-Fi in the garage, the app is not going to work properly.
Sorry, could you repeat that piece about the Wi-Fi?
The Wi-Fi is important to have a strong signal in the garage. If you got 1 bar on your cell phone, you're not going to have good connectivity. And on the bottom of, I'm not sure if you can see this. So I have 3 bars on my wall station, even though this one's not connected to my router, I am getting good signal. That would be ideal. If that was green, it would be connected. So it's important if somebody's saying, well, my doesn't work all the time, take out their cell phone and have them tell you how many bars are on their cell phone. My cell phone has full bars, but when I get out to the garage, it may not. So that's the key, is where your router is in relationship to your Wi-Fi settings. Again, the Wi-Fi indicator, this is an old style wall station, so it looks a little bit different. It used to just be a red light, green light. Now we have the little bars. And these are some, can you control it? From the door through the app, at home, not at home. And basically, any smartphone, you can program it to.
I did have a quick question, Chuck. Do you know if you guys store data onto servers for the
What kind of data are you referring
I don't
to?
know, like customer data, every time they open and close, or is that all not on the servers? Do you know?
It's it, it I asked one time, I called up and said, "Hey, can you tell if a customer they had false openings?" And I asked them if they can go in and look, and they said absolutely not. We don't save, sell, or any of their settings. Those are all private and stored in their phone. Our server is just to say we have connectivity, and we're gonna do whatever their settings say we need to do. But we are very security minded. Remember, we've been doing smart apps in the home security for about 15 years with our 2 gig product, and where we're physically in the home and we don't save any of that information either. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. And is it a subscription based or is it free for customers?
On our GDO, it's free for customers. On our home security, it's subscription based, from a home alarm system all the way up to full automation. And that would be within the Elon's architecture or the 2 gig. Now you can get, like for example, Alexa or Google, the smart thermostats. That product is going over your internet, and that's always being listened to. And your privacy is not private there. Those products work well, but realizing your privacy is not yours anymore. You've signed that away. With our product, especially when you're paying for home security, your privacy is secure. And on the GDO app, it's most definitely secure.
Okay, I have a question as well.
Yeah.
So for just the GDOs, they get one subscriber and then they can add 10 users. Now, those 10 members, are they also free still under that GDO?
Yes. Yes. We do not have a charge for our app. And the beauty, you, the owner of the app, assign your house, anybody within your household, wife, husband, kids, and then you're still within control of giving them parameters that they can come and go, perhaps during the day only. You can turn their system off without notifying them. If it's a contractor and you only want them to come in Monday through Friday till 5 o'clock, and then on Saturday you turn them off. There's so many different feature sets you can set up with the app, and then you can deny them. You have up to 10 people, but only one person can share it. That's the host. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Now, I did have a customer that he had a home. He was in another state, out of state, and he had a home here in California. They were installing the operator, and he was the main user, so he wanted his tenants to have access. But their question was, did that primary user have to be there present to download it?
Yes.
There at the home?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
You're using the host phone on their router. And then, but here's what's crazy. If the router is in the tenant's name and it comes and goes with them, every time a new tenant comes in, he's got to reinitiate it. So it's kind of
like doing a factory reset.
Well, no, it's kind of a screwy deal, because if the tenant owns the router, then the landlord has to come in and reset up the unit with the new password and his phone. So in a lot of cases, because that tenant doesn't want the privacy to go, you make the tenant the primary, and then you make the homeowner, the owner, a secondary with full access of coming in and going. But by law, the landlord has to give a tenant 24-hour notice, and that way he wouldn't have to be there if he's an out-of-state landlord, and he wouldn't have all the settings. I prefer, I'm a landlord, I would give this to my tenant to upload and download, and then when they move off, they take their router, the new tenant moves in, they're going to upload and download as they so choose, and then give him access to his own garage door opener. Does that help?
It does.
Thank you.
And you said it's 10 users at a time. So if you added like 5 people or 10 people, but then you can remove 7 of them and add another 7. Is that how it works?
Yep, exactly. So all of these items are in the app. I personally, I just tell the dealer that he's installing a smart operator. I never ever recommend, nor do I do it myself, setting up somebody's home network. I don't recommend you guys, I don't recommend your dealer, and I definitely don't recommend myself. They can call my 800 number. They can work with somebody if they're unable to, or they can have their children, because you're now getting into, passwords, router passwords, email addresses, things like that. And again, we don't want those to fall into the wrong hands.
So real quick question here. So you can only open, let's say I'm the owner and I've got the mobile app, do I have to be on the Wi-Fi network to open the garage door, or can I do it from anywhere in the world as long as I have it in the world? Okay.
Anywhere in the world that you have a signal.
Okay.
If you're on a jet airplane and you've got a signal, you can open and close your door. All that unit needs is a router in that location. It's just like making an internet phone call. I do it all the time on my cell phone, whether I'm in my hotel room or I'm in my own home, especially when I'm in Canada, because they charge 65 cents a minute. Internet calls are free. So anywhere in the world, just like LiftMaster, anywhere in the world, it goes through that. Now that home, wherever the operator resides, it does need to have a router there. It does have to be connected to allow you access to it. Does that answer your question?
Yes. And what would you say differentiates the Linear app from all the other competitors out there, if you can sum it up in a nutshell?
I'm not real familiar with one of my competitors' apps, so I won't discuss that. But the largest manufacturer out there, a couple of the differentiating things is, again, we give you 5 preset timers to open and close. When geofencing is working, that's a feature that they don't offer. We can turn on and off the light independent, and we can also put it on a timer. I like that feature at night. Makes it look like I'm still up and home or just got home. I put the light on for 2 hours from 10 till midnight. And then it auto turns off. I also have my opener in the morning, because it's quite warm where I live, auto open at 6 a.m. and at 7:30 auto close. And that's on a timer, 1 of 5 features. Those are the biggest things I like. There's a few other, insignificant that we do, and you can read through these. So again, this is all. So for the most part, that's my presentation. Do you guys want to take a look at the actual operation of a residential operator?
Sure. And Chuck, if you want to just stop sharing your screen for a second so that way it can be full screen, it'd be helpful.
Let's stop share.
There you go.
Now, do I do anything else?
Nope, that's it. So it's full screen
Just
now.
keep talking, right?
Talking and point your camera wherever you want us to see. There you go.
Okay. So you guys, because I'm on my computer, you're going to have to tell me, can you see? There you go.
Yes.
So here's the 3 buttons. Here's your 4 wires, your photo eyes, your wall station. So again, your blue light tells me that I'm operational. The red light means I'm not connected to Wi-Fi. Under the lid are my 3 other buttons, but let's just run the operator. That's how quiet our belt drives are. And I can turn the light on and off independent of the opener running. And I'll just show you what the blue light looks like when it's put in lockout. Very identifiable. You see the flash? Still opens and closes from the wall station. Doesn't matter if it's in. Well, this one's telling me it's coming in through a transmitter, so let's clear that. Now, so we've got a slight malfunction, but that gives you an indication of the flashes, and we could determine what's going on. Any other questions on, we didn't really discuss the transmitters. We offer from pocket remotes all the way up to 5-button megacode and keypad. And you just hit the learn button, hold down the transmitter for 5 seconds. What else can I answer, or any other questions?
Okay, I have a few questions.
Sure.
Okay. For the LCO 75, that one is for tall and heavy doors up to 14 feet, correct?
Yes.
Okay, do we have any kind of weight capacity for that?
On all of my openers, we don't call out a weight capacity. We expect it to be balanced with proper springs. The openers will lift up to 250 on maximum door pressure, up to 250 pounds, a dead weight lift. Again, you will wear out the opener premature if that's what you're doing every day. We recommend if the person can lift the door, we can lift the door.
Okay. So yeah, ideally, we get a lot of these guys that are asking for that. And I do understand with the DCs, we can't even put a horsepower to that. And letting them know that this, operator will work on a heavy door, carriage house, wood door, as long as it's properly balanced, especially with wood doors, those should be properly balanced maybe every 6 months versus every year. Because, they do tend to lose tension. Then they'll come back and they'll continue to ask us, well, is there any kind of weight capacity? So we can identify that with this unit.
We ask the dealer if it's got a broken spring, can the homeowner lift it? No. So neither should the opener. But to answer your other question on DC openers, that opener, every cycle, within 4 cycles, it's weighing the door. So as the springs start to wear out, the door rollers act up, as long as it doesn't hit an abrupt obstruction, it will keep weighing and lifting the door associated with it. That's the beauty of DC. AC, when I turn that knob, I'm actually setting a parameter not to exceed. So if I crank up the door pressure, I may not even be able to reverse an AC opener if I have it set to 250 pounds. Right? It may not, because you might not exceed that. It'll want to keep on pushing. And if it's a crappy pan door, for example, going down, you may crush the door. So we always recommend check your door, both with your hands, not just put an 1.5 inch block under it and see it reverse. If it exceeds your hand pressure, then adjust the door pressure on the AC openers. On the DC opener, same thing. We have green light is the lightest. It's going to take the least resistance to reverse it. Red light is going to be the most resistance, which is roughly 16 extra pounds over what it thinks it needs to open and close your wood carriage house, your pan door, or any other door. Does that help?
Yes, and then my next question is for the backup battery units that do not come with the 800 but will come on a separate box for the 800s. Now, are those mounted above the unit, like on punch angle, or is there a bracket that houses it?
The BB...
Because you also said... Okay, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. The BBU comes in its own separate box, and that goes inside the motor housing. See the 4 screws? You take this housing off, and maybe you can see these screw holes here. Can you see that where I'm pointing?
Yes.
That's where it goes on the inside. And I don't have a battery to show you, but basically on both the smart opener and the 800, the battery goes inside under the same location in the unit.
Inside the unit, perfect.
Yes, and this is how close it has to be to the logic board, because that's the wire that plugs in.
That's why I was asking, because that wire just looked really short.
It is. It's just long enough to plug into the battery backup. And then on the Wi-Fi, it's a little bit longer, but it's in the same location. You have a little bit of movement. But good question. Can I show you 3 items that I have found in the field that is important? Technical, this is our RPM sensor. And this kind of mounts right on the motor itself. And it's got the 4 connectors. Now this one looks identical, except this piece comes off and this board has been found to be lying inside the opener. So if a guy gets 7 flashes, he'll have to reprogram it and then hook this back up. Here's the last time a guy installed one of our openers. He used his needle noses, accidentally got in between the wire and plugging in the battery lead with his needle noses, and when he squeezed it, he cut the wire. Didn't notice it because he wears glasses like I do, and our opener didn't work until we fastened the wire together. So these are some of the troubleshooting. I always recommend the guy to open up the machine, make sure all the wires are connected properly, and then look for things like that, boards that are dangling from where they belong. Not every opener deserves to come back to the factory in warranty or out of warranty. Almost everything is fixable in the
He said
field.
he did it.
I'm sorry?
Sorry, yeah, Trina had a question. She's on mute there for a second. So Trina, did you have a question?
Yes. On the operators that take the 40 remotes and keypads, is that combined or 40
Yes.
remotes and then, okay, so it's combined.
Combined. And that's all my openers. Every
Okay.
residential opener, AC or DC. It used to be unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
To get around a patent that a manufacturer had, we used to be unlimited. We took that out about 10 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, I've been around for a while, so I kind of remember that. So.
Yeah, good question, though. I mean, it's important, especially when you're doing work in San Francisco, LA, where you have underground parking, a single door, but 20 spots. Some of our competitors gave you a limitation under 10 remotes, and that would be, you know. And nowadays, and it doesn't matter if it's my competitor or me, if it's a Wi-Fi opener, I cannot hook up any additional external devices. No radio receivers, no additional push buttons, no anything. It has to come in the box, labeled linear, and only as a single. No 2-button, no second wall stations, like I said, or external radio receivers, even of my own. My LDC 0800, though, and my standard AC openers, you can hook up an external radio receiver. You have to independently power it, though, to get more than, you know, your 40 remotes, for example. If you had a parking garage on a LCO 75 that had 100 cars, you could hook up an AP5, for example.
Oh, okay, so that's like needing that dry contact to do that, correct?
The receiver has the dry contact, yes, but the device learning it has to just allow it to come in. Just like on a garage door opener, if you jump terminals 1 and 2, non-Wi-Fi, the opener should open and close. And that's what the dry contact is doing. But on a smart opener, it knows it's a foreign device and it's not having two-way conversation. That's why our wall stations have to be polarity sensitive, just like our competitors.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And one question you guys haven't asked is compatibility with Car2U. Not really. Don't worry about it. Those cars are no longer being made with Car2U. HomeLink, all the way from day one, we've been compatible with Delta Multi-Stanley and Linear Megacode, which is the radio receiver we put on the back of our residential opener. The key is our transmitters quit broadcasting in 10 seconds. HomeLink needs roughly 30 seconds on some cars to be taught in. So you put it in program mode, hold your finger on the transmitter, count to 10, lift, repress, follow that process till it starts learning. And we all know certain foreign cars like Porsches, Audis, you have to go out in front of the car to teach it in. I recommend people read their owner's manuals for those cars to learn how. Just the key is we only broadcast for 10 seconds. What else?
For the backup battery, what does Linear say how many cycles it has once the power fails?
That's a hard question to answer. And the reason is the law says one time for the new law. Our standard BBU on a double-sided steel door fairly balanced. I've gotten 55 cycles over a week on my own home. On my 850, I've gotten 4 cycles on the same double-sided steel door in an 8-hour period. So I do not tell you what to expect. The law is raise up the door, pull your car out, close the door, and do what you need to do. With all these fires, it is not a convenience device. It's a safety device. It's not, I want to keep my car in for the next 4 days, go in and out as I please, buy a generator, get a whole house solar, and or pull the red cord. That's your option. But don't tell anybody that they're going to get 10 cycles guaranteed, because that's not going to happen.
No. Well, recently we've had rolling blackouts.
Yes.
And so it's actually been a question that's come up a couple of times. So that's why I was also inquiring.
Right. My friend that I told you about that has that 18 by 8.4, the heaviest door I've ever hung, 900 pounds. Our opener won't lift it once on battery.
Wow.
It's a 10-year, 12-year-old door. I've put in a brand new, well-charged battery, and I can get it up about halfway, and then it dies.
Now, on LiftMaster, they suggest that you run it a cycle with the battery, even if you don't have a outage and have the need for it at least once or twice. Is that the same suggestion with yours?
No, and the reason for that is, you see the charging circuit on the BBU on top? We actually charge and discharge the battery throughout its life cycle plugged in. So we're doing that for you. It's called, I can't even think of the word they use, but it's charging and discharging the battery, massaging the battery for you, so you don't have to do that.
Oh, okay. That's good.
Yep.
Wait, and so I did have a question. So if it's automatically discharging, if we have a blackout when it's discharged, isn't that pose an issue?
It's never going to discharge down to 0.
Okay.
Batteries, like your cell phone, they'll discharge. They're just moving current, so it doesn't like stagnant. They might only take 5% out of it and let it charge back up. They're not taking 40 and 50%. But no battery, I don't care if it's mine or anybody else's, will operate an operator once it drops below 9.5 volts. And on our 800, we're using 2 12-volt batteries, and we will not work anything below 18 volts on the battery, because you'll do damage to the battery itself. So ours just shuts off.
And how often do you need to cycle through those batteries?
What do you mean?
Like, I'm assuming, well, they're not going to last forever. So after X amount of years, you have to replace them, right?
The unit will tell you when you need to replace it by flashing. Our warranty is 1 year. I am currently on a 7-year battery on an 800 at my cousin's house, and I will not change it until he cannot get 24 hours. He's my test bed, and I've gone 7 years so far with a BBU, same one in there. And he also has unplugged it on average once a year for as much as 5 days, and just ran it. Now that is impressive. You'll never see that out of the 850, because it was designed around the upcoming law. 1 cycle. So Don't tell people that they're going to get multiple cycles out of the 850. Yes, you can get multiple cycles out of the 800, but again, the law is open the door, get the car out, or put the door on manual. Just because it's there doesn't mean it's always going to work for you.
Last question I have is for the LDCO 850. You said it's going to be now the 840?
We're offering 2 new openers. They were supposed to be out in August. They got pushed to the end of the year because of the virus and manufacturing. That'll be an 841, different look, same feature set, no battery, similar to the 800 battery option. The 863, totally different look, 3 sets of lights underneath. The guts are the same logic board, same motor, same rails, everything's the same, but the style is different and the lighting is different. So okay. The beauty is you'll still be able to interchange your logic boards from day one on smart to current, and on 800 from current all the way back to, when we began it, and AC all the way back for your other markets.
Thank you.
And you guys will be getting one of these days, I'm hoping before September's over, a marketing pack to promote. We as a company are finally coming into the real world, and we're going to do more marketing for you guys and us. And so they're going to be sending out shirts, hats, marketing material, internet. If you want, go ahead and follow us on Instagram, on any of the other social medias that you like, and any of the updates that we're doing, we're sending out daily, if not weekly.
Okay, well, Chuck, we appreciate you taking the time here. It was definitely a pleasure. I think we learned a lot here, and thank you.
And last, because you're going to send this out over and copy it, my phone number is 510-913-0203, and I welcome any phone calls from you or your customers with any questions. We're here to help you guys sell more product.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry I went over the 15 minutes.
It's all good. Thank you, Chuck.
Bye now.
Bye.